All right, guys, this is the Talk for Guys. This would have been when we're all in the community center and we're getting together and you've been jumping around like jumping beans and going crazy, but now we're trying to get you settled down for the night. So we would generally work at that for a while and finally get you to sit down in the center and start talking. So that's what this is about, and this is what I would have been saying to you then, and so I'm saying it to you now in this way, in this location. So honorable relationships is what I chose to talk to you about. And this is not the only way to say it, but this is the way that I thought was best to describe what I'm trying to talk about. Honor, when referring to the character of an individual, is a virtue. Honor is an intrinsic, essential quality. It's part of a person. It's not separable in that way. Honor comes at the cost of considerable effort over a lifetime. An honorable person is worthy of praise for superior character. And I hope ultimately that will be describing you. And I'm trying to convince you that that's what you want. So this scripture, 1 Thessalonians 4:4, that each of you should know how to control his own body in holiness and honor. And this is Paul speaking. And he's talking to the Thessalonian people who didn't yet know about some of this idea. It's the only reference I found in the English Standard version of the Bible that talks about this concept of honor that I wanted to tell you about. There are other references, but they refer to honoring a person, like, giving them a certificate or a medal, which is not exactly what we wanted to talk about here. So, since I couldn't find anything more on that, what next? And the answer is, let's look for a synonym. So righteousness, integrity, and self-control turned out to be pretty good ones, yielding quite a few references. And there are other choices like upright, godly, pure, dignified, sober-minded, steadfast, sound in faith. And so I found 1 Kings 9:4 and Titus 2:7. And doing that, let's talk about 1 Kings 9:4. God speaking to Solomon. As for you, if you will walk before me, as David your father walked, in integrity of heart and uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded you, and will keep my statutes and my ordinances, then I will establish, and he's telling him he's going to establish the kingdom for him. But the idea of integrity of heart is what we're looking at there. And notice walk. Walk is a synonym for live in the way that they use it there. And this is Titus 2:7, Paul writing to Titus, in all things showing yourself an example of good works. In your teaching show integrity, seriousness, incorruptibility, and soundness of speech that cannot be condemned, that he who opposes you may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say about us. So wouldn't that be great if nobody could find anything bad to say about you because you were living so well? And these are other scriptures that I found that I didn't want to go through all of those, but I'll leave this up long enough that you can get a chance to look those up later if you want to, which I would recommend that you do. And the wisdom books of the Bible are full of teaching on how to live and what happens when you do or do not live correctly. So let's go on. What about relationships? I said honorable relationships at the beginning. So honor, maturity, integrity, uprightness, self-control, all the virtues are good, beneficial, and praiseworthy, even when we are completely alone. But in personal relationships, that's where the greatest difference is going to be found. Golden rule, as sometimes called, do unto others as you would to have them do unto you, is a good example of a relationship principle about living an honorable relationship. Most people eventually realize that worthwhile friendships take attention, that is work. You do not always get out of it equal to what you put in, but still very rarely will you get a lot when you don't put any effort in. You probably do not feel you need advice about how to handle relationships, but how to handle friendships, I should say, but all your relationships can have similar issues. If you're a selfish friend, if you don't listen, you'll also be selfish in your other relationships. It'll affect your relationship to your family and to other folks as well. And that other relationships is what I was going to get into here. What am I talking about when I say other relationships? Well, you know what I'm talking about, but I wanted to approach it. The name is important. What name you give something shapes your thinking. Boys might say a girlfriend, older men might say romance. The Bible only mentions marriage and engagement for very good reason. Those are the things that are most relevant. I doubt you want to be engaged or married to someone you do not know, although arranged marriages actually work out better than you would imagine, because the key issue is commitment. It turns out that key of commitment and also the key to happiness, the world will spin your head with endless talk of true love and romance, but without commitment, all you can expect ultimately is trouble. You're either in a relationship of mutual commitment or you're not. There isn't an in-between, maybe a sort of, a close. You might think there is, but it really isn't. You're deceiving yourself and you're deceiving other people. That I'm not ready, you say. I don't want to be in a committed relationship. Well, that's no surprise. You will never be fully ready. Grasshopper, and by that's a reference, if you can tell me what that's from, you get extra points. You have much to learn. Yet, to know oneself is unready is a good start. The real question is not, are you ready, but what will it take to get you ready? Not just what you think, but if there's a lady in question, what does she think? And more importantly, what does God think? Wait, how long is all this going to take, you say? You may have just enough time. Starting now, hard work and dedication are required. In the meantime, be honest with everyone, including yourself. Do not deceive yourself or others. Uncommitted is uncommitted. There are no partial commitments. If you are free and uncommitted, then so is everyone else. You think that, oh, I'm not committed, but this other person owes me commitment. That's not the way it works. By the way, healthy relationships of any kind are about serving, not controlling. You want to change someone else, forget it. No one is perfect but God himself. You can hope for change, encourage change, just don't expect change. You think, and that's the change you think you want. You may not actually want that change when you find out. If someone else is pressuring you unreasonably to change. Now there can be reasonable pressure to change, but unreasonably you need to reevaluate that relationship. So ultimately you should also be building your prime relationship. And what do I mean by that? I mean your relationship with God. The changes you need to make in order to be ready for another kind of relationship to work are things that God can help you with. God can help where no one else can. He provides the power and wisdom that are essential to healthy growth. Honor is honesty, integrity, and uprightness. These and other virtues are their own rich reward. Possession of virtue is never pointless or empty. So that concludes the talk for now. We'll have another one. And thank you very much.